So, Angeline, lovely to see you. Excited to have you here. Hey, Marina. Hi, Susan. Thank you guys for joining me today. I am really excited um, to kind of share a little bit of my story. I think you've all probably heard bits and pieces, or if we've talked personally, you might know a little bit more. But I thought this would be a good way for you to sort of get to know me, my history with strengths, and as well share the like giant vision that has been percolating all year and will be launching next year. So I am super excited that you guys have tuned in live. I really appreciate it. For those of you who do manage to stay towards the end, this hopefully will not be a super long one. We'll stay within our 45 minutes. But for those of you who decide to stay, we'll be picking a number. Everyone will pick a number, no repeats, but everybody will be picking a number, and we're going to do a drawing for a coaching package with me. So a free coaching package I'm going to be giving away today. But then I've also got a really incredible deal for anyone who registered and is joining today to take advantage of too, just as a thank you more than anything else for taking time and sharing it with me today. So to start off, I am Joe Self. And yes, that's my real name. It's not a pen name. My full name is Joe Anna Self. So there are only 10 letters in my whole name, which I have fought my entire life because the thing I hear more often than anything else is, so what's it short for? What's Joe short for? And I go, nothing. And they're like, Josephine? No. Jolene? No. No. They will come up with all kinds of names. And I just go, no, it's just Joe. And they'll go, oh, what's your middle name? And I'll say Anna. And they're like, oh, you're Joanna. I'm like, no, my second name doesn't make my first name any longer. But thank you so much for playing the game. This is fun. So this has been something I've gone. And of course, writing books, people often think it's a pen name, but no, it's just my parents. My mom loved Little Women. I was named for her favorite character in Little Women. She did not like the name Josephine, so hence she picked only Joe. And on top of that, my dad's last name was Self. And I'm pretty sure my mom didn't get the joke, but my dad did because he had one of those senses of humor. And so he didn't correct her and say, this is going to cause her a lot of grief her whole life. But I can't imagine having another name. And quite frankly, it works really well for my business name, which is Discover Joe Self, on top of having the practical strengths. So that's kind of where that came from. I am an only child. I was raised in the US. I lived most of my life in Kentucky, though I bounced around to a lot of other states. I eventually took leave of the US in 2010 and moved to Uruguay for 5 months first. And then from Uruguay, I made my way back over to Peru, where I had been once before in 1995 as a student finishing my degree in Spanish. And I spent 11 years in Peru. I have Peruvian citizenship. My son was born there. I'm actually headed there in a couple of days so my son can spend time with his dad for Christmas. And now I have lived in Mexico for almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years this coming February. And who knows what might be next? I threw a little idea out there into the world to maybe do a year in the Philippines next year as part of the strengths movement and the growth and some of what you're going to hear about today. So who knows? Maybe that'll be in the cards for the second half of next year. We shall see. But I'm really happy here in Mexico, and I don't really have a desire to go many other places. But if it's good for strengths and it's a new opportunity for me and my son, I'm open to those things. Now, the other thing I think you might find interesting is sevens are really important to me. And I'll share this, and this has a little vulnerability to it as well. But I published my first practical strengths book on March 7th of 2021. And I picked that date specifically because one, I was still 47 years old, which has significance. And two, March 7th was my parents' anniversary. So even though they happened to get divorced when I was 7, they still were married on the 7th of March. And in honor of my parents who have both passed away, I picked that date to do it. So anything I launch, I typically try to launch on a 7. Now, other things get some other dates, but I try to launch all my books on the 7th of a month. I try to launch big programs or ideas on the 7th of a month. Today we're on the 11th. That's okay. It's another great number. But that's part of the sevens. And my parents, and the thing was, is 47 was the only age, or the only age ending in 7, that hadn't been claimed by something negative in my life growing up to the age of 57. So my parents got divorced when I was 7. I was unfortunately violated when I was 17. I was 27 when my father died. My mother was 37 when she died. He was 57 when he died. And so 47 was the only one that hadn't been claimed. And so I was bound and determined to turn the energy around for my 7 years. And so that's why my prices end in sevens. That's why my book was launched with a seven. So that is the incredible important story of sevens whenever you're paying attention to what I launch out there and what I do. Um, I am going to be talking a lot, you guys, and so I will try to be as entertaining as possible. I will try to talk slowly. My communication makes me speak really fast because I worry about you getting bored, and I don't want that to happen. So please, I am going to be sharing a little bit of a presentation with you, but please interrupt me. Those of you who have been with enough sessions with me before, raise your hand. I will see that. That will pop you up to the top. So I will see you if you raise your hand. If you have a question, please feel free to pop something in the chat. I may or may not get as quickly to it, but I will try. If you see something in the chat I need to hear, stop me, say it out loud. So I'm just going to count on you guys to be my partners today and to be as conversational as we can be, but there will certainly be time for questions at the end as well as our big giveaway and the special deal that I'm going to be offering to everyone, which you'll also see in the email that comes out. So with no further ado, any questions before we start? Any comments before we start? Nope, we got one person that just popped in. So, all right, go ahead and share my screen with you. So my talents are strategic, activator, maximizer, communication, ideation, and then woo, arranger, connectedness, command, positivity. And then I finish out my dominance with responsibility and futuristic. Why am I telling you this? I am telling you this, one, because the best way to predict your future is to create it. I live and breathe the statement. Futuristic is the road I drive on. There is no way I can deny it. My futuristic with my connectedness thinks huge. It thinks big. My strategic tries to see the path to get there. It is the devil and angel on my shoulder because I can flex and go a lot of places, but I can also really confuse people with all the ideas and options because I never want people to feel like there's one option because my strategic hates just one possibility. So sometimes I can overwhelm with my options that I give people because that's what I need. And so that's something I'm trying to refine and hone. So practical strengths really beyond the book series was developed this year. My word for the year this year was build. Now, little did I know, did I frustrate my activator by essentially being a synonym for patience, which was my word last year. So I have had 2 years of moving slowly and methodically, which does not make my activator particularly happy, but here we are, still moving forward. And practical strengths started as this idea for a membership community. Many of you here are members, and I thank you greatly for your patronage and your support. But practical strengths is more than just a community. It really is. It's an idea. It's a resource. It is something that I embrace 100% because I truly believe that we need to make strengths this common language so that we can help others see what's beautiful about themselves, have permission to be themselves so that we can solve problems in different ways. And I really think we need this as a vocabulary. And Gallup does a wonderful job with its coaching and with the materials it puts out there, but it doesn't really look into the everyday lives of most people. And that's where I really have a heart space, is showing this in practical, applicable, actionable ways so that it doesn't feel so challenging for both coaches and for just people who are interested in this. So I also have a big belief in democratizing coaching. So being able to make offers that are affordable and accessible to most people where they are not is really important to me. We'll see a little bit more of this. So I want to give you sort of the roadmap for practical strengths in what is happening now, what is in process. And part of why you're here today is to hear this and also how you can support me in this journey. And I say me because right now it's just a me, but gosh, I really want it to be more than just a me. at some point in the near future. So right now, as we speak, things that are incredibly important to make happen so that I can move forward with what I want to do is trademarking Practical Strengths. So we want to make sure I get Practical Strengths trademarked not only as a book title or a book series. You can't trademark book titles, but you can a book series. So the book series as well as the business needs to be trademarked. I have been a freelancer. I have been a sole proprietor for a very long time, but in order to grow this where I need to grow this, I need to register a business. So I'm looking to register the LLC. I am hoping to do this in Delaware because as I live abroad, it can be challenging, but Delaware has great tax benefits and great support for businesses. So looking to register there, which obviously has its own costs. I have the practicalstrengths.org website. There's a lot more development that needs to happen with that. Also developing a nonprofit. So these are all sort of like key stakes that have to be done in the next, hopefully get started in the next 30 days with all luck. The nonprofit is actually going to be specifically focused on subsidizing the cost of the assessments for underserved and economically challenged communities. Since I live in Mexico, the $60 assessment in the US is not just translated to $60 in Mexico between taxes and exchange rates. It's actually $90 right now for someone in Mexico to take it, which happens to be the salary of my doorman for a week. So this is not something that's accessible for just everyday people. In Denmark, I was just speaking with someone in Denmark the other day. The price for the 60 is $125. So when you go to these countries where the dollar is not their main currency, Gallup is unfortunately not making the decision to make it an economy of scale based on where they are. And so this really hurts a lot of countries who don't have that dollar strength. So my goal is to hopefully raise funds, find sponsors, perhaps codes who are donated from other coaches that they don't use them and have the capability of doing such would go towards this project. And then the last thing you see, I actually turned over some of my material for those of you who are using ChatGPT and other AI tools. I was approached recently by someone who is currently creating a free MVP. So that's a minimal viable product. For those of you who don't know that lingo from Lean Startup, but we're creating a Joe GPT. So we are creating a closed GPT. So the information will be validated. It's authentic. It comes from my books. It comes from my podcasts. It comes from my courses and my teachings. And so we're starting with a text version, and hopefully before the end of the year, I will actually have a working model. And of course, we'll be probably asking some of my Practical Strengths members to try out and train and help with questions and see what we need to adjust and refine. Eventually, there will be a cost associated with that, but I'm very lucky that the vision that the people I connected with, they see opportunities to then sell this to other people. So they're using me as a bit of a guinea pig. So I'm working with that. Any questions about this specific space that I'm doing? And if you have any help in these spaces, please, I am open to having help or advice as well. The next 1 to 3 months, I'm working on the certifications. They're almost completely written out. So the first certification will hopefully be launched in mid-February, which will be on the books, but I've got some other certifications coming. So there will be certifications available. I'm working on a video library that will support those books and be private video libraries accessible by people who are trained, but also it will be able to be shared out with your clients and things like that. Working on a directory. So anybody who is trained and certified will be able to be listed in our directory, which is one of the things I need to grow on the Practical Strengths website. And my goal is to hit 100 members. I am less interested in becoming a McDonald's or a Starbucks and more interested in having really quality people who seek to have a similar impact with strengths and want to create a continually collaborative community where we can share and have an abundance mindset. The next 3 to 6 months, we've got 3 books that have been published. There's Parenting, Career Success, and Communication Styles. All are available on any local Amazon, or should be, both print and Kindle. We have 3 new books that are currently being worked on. I hopefully they will be releasing those consecutively. My goal is to do it February, March, April. My activator says my realistic size is it might be March, April, May, but that would be conflict resolution, relationships, and family and education. And family and education will be essentially a 2.0 of the parenting, but really doing some amazing things. Alicia Santa Maria is my partner on the conflict resolution. Rebecca Rios is in Brazil is my partner for family and education. And the partner on relationships is Stacy Crawford, who is in Minnesota. On top of that, we're currently translating. So Angeline Soon, who is on this call, is my Chinese partner, who they are translating books in Chinese. We also have books being translated in Arabic and Portuguese, and hopefully very soon will be Spanish. The benefit of this, and I'm really excited and very humbled by this actually, because I didn't realize it when I started out doing it, but in picking up my strategic licensing partners for the languages or translation licenses for the books, you can take the test, perhaps like, for example, in Arabic, you can take the test in Arabic, but you can only get your results in English. And the only book that's really translated in most languages is Now Discover Your Strengths. So you can take the test in your language, but you can't necessarily get the results in your language. So you're already like leaving other people out. So the benefit of these translations is the fact that we are now creating the only sources for strengths or resources for strengths that will be available in these native languages for people. So I'm looking for more language partners. If there's anybody who's interested in doing this and feels that there's a market and a purpose for it, it doesn't have to be all the books. It can be any of the books. And then there's a first right of refusal. Then the licensing partnerships are coming with the roadmap and with finding partners who also want to be leaders in their area, want to be leaders in their region, and will have a chance to have access to all of my ideas, resources, methodologies, products, et cetera, aptitude for translation in these partnerships will grow. And again, I'm looking for maybe 20 solid partnerships to grow to at the moment. It could grow a little bit more, but I'm starting out with 3 pilot partners, and hopefully we'll be pulling those on board somewhat soon, just refining the details and the costs associated with that. But again, it's something that I want to be really accessible and fair for communities that aren't served by the US dollar. And then finally, towards the end of next year, I'm really hoping to do a virtual summit. I would love to do an in-person summit, but we'll do a virtual summit to get started. And also looking to do more in-person opportunities. So either mini retreats, or if I'm traveling, where we can get people together, do book signings. And also if we have partners who are able to launch things in person, that would be another opportunity as well. Any questions about this roadmap so far? Comments, thoughts, or if you just have a comment or thought, feel free to throw that in the chat as well. I'll give it a quick. Awesome. Yeah. Okay, great. Love your comments. Thank you. And Lynn, we'll talk. So one of the ways you can support right now, the easiest way anyone can support these missions and me consistently creating content and putting out what I've got to put out there, is the Practical Strengths Mastery Network membership. And so this membership includes 2 monthly live online workshops, which is available to the public as well. However, as a member, you actually get access to all the recordings and materials used on the live workshop. I don't necessarily share those with just open public. You get a 20% discount on all programs and trainings all year. You get 2 15-minute laser coaching sessions per month. You have priority registration. So anytime I'm launching a new product or launching launching a registration or a package, a group package, I will always make sure you have at least 48 to 72 hours notice before I open it up to the public, because my attendance is always limited to max 12 people. And that is to ensure that there is plenty of time for questions, personal attention, and that kind of thing. So I'd rather do it for smaller groups a little more often than try to get large groups in and maximize, because I feel like that loses out on the personal touch. So that priority registration is always there for you. Certifications are actually only available to people who are in the membership network. You can be trained on any of my materials, but you won't have the same access or necessarily be listed in the directory as a certified facilitator or trainer. And then you also have until April 21st, because I turned 50 this year. I launched a 50 minutes for $50. And so it was available to the public for about a month. And then it's been available to all Practical Strengths members for the year up until my next birthday on April 21st, 2024. And the cost is a sliding scale. So you can choose your support level at $25, $45, or $65 a month. The bonus for the $65 a month is that you also have access to a quarterly one-on-one session. So by the time you've paid 3 months, you've actually paid for one session, but you still get all the other benefits as well. So it's kind of like a payment plan for a one-on-one coaching session for me. Any questions about the membership network or what we're doing there? Okay. Interest of time. So what's coming? So the foundational programs that I have, just so you know, I want everyone to know exactly what it is I do. This is the core program that I started with almost 8 years ago called The Language of You. This is a 5-week deep dive claiming program that I can do individually or in a group. I really like it when it's done in a group because you get the peer support, you get some interesting perspectives. It allows you to see the strengths of others and take in different ways, but it can easily be done one-on-one as well. And basically it weaves together your talents where you're going to create your own definition and the potential of your own talents and how they show up for you. And then we start to weave it with your values and your motivations and your needs, your skills, because when we do that, we're not compartmentalizing those things anymore. We're starting to create a glossary for who you are and how you show up, and to really understand that intrinsic nature of who you are, and showing our talents, how they show up in different ways. So we create these synonyms in different ways to say a similar thing instead of compartmentalizing. And then we'll understand your why. So as we start to weave all of these threads together, your why and your purpose becomes much more clear. There's a lot of clarity around how you need to show up, what you need to do. This is often used towards personal branding or business and messaging strategy. And then finally, you define your legacy. So we create a final process, a final content, which is kind of like the Covey obituary exercise where you start with the end in mind. And this really helps you get some focus and move forward. So that is my foundational program. That is the core program of what I do. I do it with 95% of my clients. This is where we start, because the better we know ourselves and I know you, the more constructive and effective we can be moving forward with any other coaching or support that I give you. Then second, we have strengths as a second language. This is the second core program. And this is based on my years of experience, and probably 80% of my clients are people who either already know strengths or are certified coaches or coaches who use strengths. There's a lot of self-doubt that creeps up of people that don't feel confident in what the talents mean and how they show up and what to do. And so there's this opportunity to really teach it as a vocabulary course. I will be very frank with you guys that I actually pitched this recently to Gallup because I felt like this was something that they don't offer in such depth, and I feel is really would be hugely beneficial to the coaches out there. Unfortunately, they felt that what I do is redundant. I think anyone on here who has attended either the first or second pilot of this would know that this is not redundant of anything Gallup has done, but that's okay. More space for me to play, and I get a chance to do this. So there is a first level, which is truly looking at the vocabulary. We use the theme insights. We have you create a visual image of a person that you think represents it. And then we also look at patterns. So what are talents that like to procrastinate or might procrastinate? What are talents that prefer rigidity and extra clarity? What are talents that need spongy boundaries? What are talents that are more internally motivated? What are more externally motivated? So really, you don't just learn the vocabulary. We sum it up at the end by recognizing the patterns and traits of how people show up. And so when you're coaching someone, you're like, oh, procrastination seems to be an issue. I wonder if that's connectedness or achiever or activator, adaptability. Let's look at their talents and see where that procrastination is coming from and make ourselves more effective coaches. And then the second level is, so the first one is essentially roughly a 9-hour workshop. It's on 2 half days. And then this one is another 4-hour workshop. It's just one 4-hour workshop. But what we do is we look at the nuances. We really dive into the nuances. And when people get confused and they think strategic looks like a ranger, so we look at what is the common thread that pulls them together, why they are confused. And then we look at what really makes them different and sets them apart. Everything supported with visual images. And then the second part of that is looking at specific talents that kind of really shift based on what other talents or domains they are surrounded by. And so how we can explore that. So if someone has futuristic with positivity and connectedness, they're like, what? The world is our oyster. We can do it. I can dream. There's so much possibility. What if we did this? They're so big picture thinkers and they see trends and they're doing it, but everything's a possibility, right? If you have someone with futuristic with restorative deliberative, they're chicken little. The sky is falling. They've got to prepare for what's coming down the lane. They can already see it happening. Are we ready? Are we prepared? And so there's a much different approach to the future than there is with someone with positivity and connectedness. And so if you're working with teams or a couple and they both have futuristic but aim it very differently, that can be where conflict is coming from. So it's a way to sort of smooth those out. So those are my two really main programs. The other thing I do is a lot of coaching around communication, which is the Speakeasy Lab. You'll see that in a second. So the training and certification that is coming down the pipe is really on two different things. One is the Strengths Champions Roadmap. This is a roadmap I very recently launched. A couple of you on here were kind enough to give me your feedback and help me refine it so I could get it out there. And it seems to have worked because I have a few universities who are interested. I have some other coaches who are interested in this. I'm really excited. And what it is it's a way to support internal strengths champions. Either this was initially aimed at higher ed, but I also have an organizational brochure that is aimed at organizations who want to develop a strengths culture and develop internal strengths champions or advocates. It does not require you to be certified or have anyone Gallup certified on the team. This is a training tool that will teach you much more than that certification will give you. The idea is because budgets are so tight in a lot of these spaces that they can then train a core group of people and decide who is maybe the best candidate to certify going forward with Gallup, because I know with turnover being higher than it should and budgets being cut, it can be a real challenge to even decide that. So the idea is to build a foundation. So you would pick 5 to 20 people, depending on how large the organization is, how many people you have to support, can be across different departments. It does not, for instance, at a university, you could pick student champions that are going to be there for a couple of years and are in a leadership program. And you would start with the language of you, because we need them to know who they are, how they show up as a team, what they're doing. So we start with the language of you, and it's teaching them a tool. So they're experiencing a tool they can then turn around and use as part of their coaching internally with their students, with their staff, with their faculty. So it's an experiential training in the sense that they will live it, and then they will have more comfort turning around and using it. And then the next step is to build a team. And so that's the Speakeasy Lab. So this is where, for some of you who have been following me this year, we've done a couple of workshops where I teach you my communication modules, which will also be in the communication training that we're doing. But it's really a way for teams to emotionally engage on a deeper level with their talents, understand how they communicate, how they show up, what they say, when they say it. And it's basically a full total is roughly could be actually a half day to a full day training to just do that and be done with it. And then the extra part is going through and helping a leader see his team more accurately, really, to really see what they need. And then the building knowledge is the next part. Strengths as a second language, we went through, which is 1 and 2. And then supporting them continually through monthly learning circles. The idea would be to have 3 right after the training is finished. This is about 22 hours of training in total between the language of you, Speakeasy Lab, and Strengths as a second language. It's roughly 22 hours of training. The budget for higher ed is $1,400 per person, which is in alignment with what most of the learning and development budgets are at universities for their staff. It can be obviously augmented based on the school that you're with. It has some flexibility. But this is one of the things that I can't do this for everyone. So I'm also looking for partners right now who would like to launch this with me. They can learn to be a facilitator and train their facilitation in the process as we co-facilitate the program with someone. And then the idea would be then to license this or have an annual renewal fee for using the roadmap. So a university loves this. They want to keep doing it. The goal is that I don't train everybody that's new that comes in. They have people now competent and confident enough on staff that they can then run the training. So they would pay $2,500 a year. That's my going rate right now, $2,500 a year to maintain this methodology. brand the materials for their university or for their organization. And then I would support them, or the facilitator would support them once a quarter with strategic implementation, ideas, activities, anything they feel they need to keep moving forward. So we don't completely walk out of the process, but we remove ourselves slightly so that they can build their own successful and sustainable program. Any questions about that before I move on? Okay. The other certifications and trainings that will be taking place are on the books, because what better way to have this amazing tool that you can use, but to also feel really comfortable and confident with how the talents show up in these specific spaces. So you'll notice that parenting is smaller and a little bit grayed out. I'm not going to be doing one specifically on parenting, but that's because we have the family and education book coming up. And so this year, for sure, before July, we will have a training in communication styles and career success. Depending on the demand, we will probably do at least 2 trainings next year, if not 3. And then as the other books come out, relationships, family and education, and conflict management, those trainings will be built into the curriculum of what we are offering for certifications. The goal behind this is you don't have to certify on all of them. You can pick one that has to do with your space that you're really going to lean into. But should you choose 2 or more, your first certification is roughly $1,500, $1,497. But then and if you're not, and that's if you're not a PSM member, obviously, remember you get 20% off of that if you're a PSMM member, but that's the public price. And then if you decide to do any consecutive trainings, there will actually be a discount for coming back. So it'll only be $11.97 for anyone coming back. Because I tend to love to reward loyalty as well. I don't think it should cost the same every time. And if you're going to stick with me, I want to give you a reason to. So that's that. And then just so you know, because what we're talking about strategy and growing, there are more books. One that is not here that I'm really considering. I had one that was really around fun and recreation. I think I might merge that with one that's on third age and looking at retirement. So looking at how do you have fun? How do you do something after, work? What do you do in the third age? So that's one that I'm kind of there. My content expert for grief and resilience is Rhonda Mayberry. Health and wellness, habits and goals, inner compass, I still have available for anyone who is interested in potentially being a partner. I have had a couple of people, conflict management was not on my list. Alicia Santa Maria approached me and asked me to be a partner with her to write the book so she could have it. She didn't have time. And so that's how that happened. So if you have a book that you think might be of interest, we can also discuss that as well as a possibility. I have plenty to say. And then the other book that will be coming out, and I'm in the process of writing, is the Practical Strengths Manifesto, which is really the why behind all of this, and doing case studies, which will include Leadership Rhode Island, but also families, education, trauma and rehabilitative space, and nonprofit, small business space, so that there's some more real life, smaller scale ways that strengths is being implemented and having an impact. So it'll be focusing on case studies and opportunities there. So hopefully anybody who happens to read that will think, oh, I hadn't thought about that. That sounds like something I could do. And we will hopefully inspire more people to start using strengths in their space. So to make all of this happen, I need volunteers and I need support and I need the community. And a very good friend of mine years ago said that we all have an opportunity to volunteer and every single space has value. So whether that's time, talent, or treasure, nothing can happen without all 3 of those. So whatever space might be comfortable for you, I am going to ask you to consider where you might be able to support me in helping me grow through next year, this vision for practical strengths. So for time, some ideas, because my maximizer doesn't want you to have to think about this for yourself. I'll give you some ideas and then you can run with it. If something else comes up, great. My ideation loves another idea. But share my posts, share my videos, share on social media, forward an email to someone you think might appreciate it. So sharing is caring in this case, right? And it will help me grow my network and potentially gain new followers. Help me make connections. Do you know someone who might love to do that roadmap? Do you know someone who might need coaching? Do you know someone who can counsel me? Do you know someone who's done something similar and might have words of wisdom for me. So making connections would be really great. I would love that. And I should put sharing on social media. Also, if you haven't given me a testimonial and you've been thinking about it, that would be a great thing to do too, is to give a testimonial on LinkedIn for me of what you value and appreciate with the community or from me, because I don't have a lot of new ones. Volunteering for the planning committee for the virtual summit. I hope to be able to pay someone to help me with this next year, but if you are interested in just helping me plan for the course curriculum, for what that looks like, what the design looks like, doing a little research, would love some volunteers for the virtual summit for next year. And if you happen to love doing administrative tasks, I'd love a gift of some administrative hours. Help me get some documents in order, help me get the papers filed, help me organize my memberships in something that I can manage. So helping me with administrative tools and getting me organized would be really great. Which is also a little bit of talent in there too, right? So then talent, I could use mentors or advisors. I would love to have people who know more than me and can help me head in the right direction and do this the right way, be a strategic thought partner for me. Anyone who has experience with nonprofits and really kind of knows the world of nonprofit. I know there's at least one person on this call who has a great deal of experience, but I'm going to be looking for at least 3 board members and just people who can help me keep that in line, because, discipline, consistency, almost all my executing in my bottom 25 or like my bottom 10. Anyone who can help me with that and keep me on track, which is also me looking for potentially an operations partner at some point. So you might have seen that I'm looking for someone who might want to be an operations partner as we grow and start making some money. And then technical advice. Do you know how to build a website? I can build the websites, but I don't have time for everything. If you can help me with the AI platforms, if you can help me with the websites, if you can help me set up a membership site so that the Practical Strengths can run more fluidly, anything you have technically that could be of help, I would love that. So not just advice, actually some actual hours would be great. And, if there's something I haven't thought of, I'm really open to what you think you might be able to offer in this space. We're just better together when we can do this. And then obviously there are some costs that are affiliated with this. So I've created some special packages where if you can contribute financially, it would be greatly appreciated. My goal is to raise between $10,000 and $15,000. It's to support the trademarking, the business registration, the nonprofit registration, some consulting advice legally, tax-wise, nonprofit-wise, hopefully hire at least a part-time administrative assistant for, say, 4 to 6 hours a week to just kind of keep things streamlined. And also to purchase ISBN numbers, because 10 ISBN numbers is $295, which is the best price you can get. But with all the books I'm getting ready to be publishing in the languages we're going to, in order to move into other spaces besides Amazon, we need to purchase the ISBN numbers. So that's $295 for 10. So those are some of the costs that I'm looking at, and that's where this treasure would be going to support. Again, the membership is also a way to support. Ultimate coaching, $2,000 package, 12 60-minute sessions, a monthly mastermind group with the others at this level, 12 hours of graphic design support. So PowerPoint presentations, things like that, that I can help you with, marketing materials, business cards. And I would send you a signed copy of all of the PSMN books, including future ones that haven't been published yet. So you could have signed copies. There's the Coaching Plus package, which is 8 60-minute sessions. These are both savings over the normal packages. Monthly mastermind, 6 hours of graphic design support, and the signed copy of the book of your choice. And those would both include potentially some perks with the membership if you're not already a member of the PSMN. And then pick your prize. So for $500, you could take your pick of 4 60-minute sessions, or which is about half price on my normal package. You could get a new or updated refreshed PowerPoint. You could do your TED Talk in your pocket with me, which is 4 sessions of refining or defining your message and helping you create that 20-minute presentation to help you find, to be a lead magnet, find more clients, as well as content marketing for yourself. or you could apply it towards the training of your choice. So if you wanted to do this strengths as a second language, or you wanted to do a certification next year, you could apply this $500 towards any one of those packages that I offer, training or coaching package, although the coaching package is up there. And then finally, not everybody can support financially, which is why we ask for time and talent as well. But you can also choose a one-time donation or a monthly donation. It can be $5, $10, whatever is comfortable for you at this point. Any donation of $20 or more for someone who is not a PSMN member currently will receive a 3-month trial membership to see what the community offers and how we're growing. Other than that, like I said, you can also just select to be a new PSMN member for a little bit of time. There's only a 3-month requirement to stay in just because of the benefits. But after 3 months is up, if you decide that you don't want to be a participant anymore, that's fine. No harm, no foul, and you can leave at your leisure. I just have to be careful that people don't join for a month just to get a discount and then decide to leave again. So that's why there's a 3-month minimum. These are all learnings. So here's a QR code. So if you want to try and grab this, you can also go to just my website, discoverjoself.com, to learn more. On my homepage, there is a banner up at the very top that's about supporting the membership, you can learn everything there, or I'll give you a second to take a picture of this or screenshot it, whatever is easiest. And then we're gonna do a drawing. I'm gonna show you here. I think we've got enough. Whoop, no, just. So we're gonna do a drawing. We are going to pick a number 1 through 25. So if you guys will help me out, stop sharing in the chat, no repeating the number, but pick a number 1 through 25, and whoever gets the closest to the actual number will win one of my full coaching packages, which is a $1,100 value. So let's see what we've got going here. Make sure everybody has had it. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. All right. We have 2 24s. Oh, we have 2 24s. Helen got 24 first. Yvette, pick another number.
I think we got 3 13s too.
We got.
Sorry, I just picked another one because I saw someone else had got 24.
Yeah. Okay. And David, David, you're the owner of 13 because you were the first one in with it. So Naomi, and double check the numbers there. And Susan, you'll need to pick a different number.
I did.
Okay.
I changed.
So
I changed my 14.
I think I'm going to have to pick another one too, because somebody picked 17 before me, but I don't know what's left. I'm looking to see.
Yeah, Travis has 17 before you. Oh, there's quite a few numbers left.
I'd have to go through them to see what's not used.
Let's see. 2, nope, 3's not there. 2 is available. I love that you picked 7, Angeline. I think 23 is available. 22 is available. Nope, 22 is not available. It's Yvette's new one. Do you have a new number, Jana?
I'll just pick one of them. You said 23.
And I have the same number.
I could have assigned, but I thought I'd let you guys pick. All right. So everybody, I think everybody has their number, right?
I think there's 2 14s. There's still 2 14s.
Still 2
I know
14s.
Naomi changed hers from 13 to 14, but
Oh, Joanne had
there's another 14.
Yeah, Joanne had 14 first. Sorry, Naomi. Let's see what we've got. I wish we could do this in order. Probably should have picked another way to do this. So 2 is available. 4 is available.
I just took 2.
Okay, great. Anybody else need to change? 9 is available. Nope, 9 is not available. 10 is available. Okay. All right. I'm going to share my screen again. Oops. Let me pick the right page. I share the right thing. All right. So we've got 1 through 25. share my screen. Da, da, da. All right, we're gonna spin. The fairest way to do this. There can be no doubt that I'm picking favorites. 13. Which is actually my lucky number. So David Kabaki, you're the winner. Awesome.
That's my lucky number. That's why I picked 13 from my dad. Also, I inherited that.
That's my dad's birthday. So 13 is one of my numbers that I always use as well. So my dad's birthday. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. So there, the other offer I have for you today. So in spite of the fact that I'm trying to raise money and do all of this, you know, many of you know that I launched a pay $250 now and save 50% next year. Well, for anyone who is registered today for this call, this is not going out anywhere else. This is only for you on this call and the people who registered, is you will have a 75% coupon on any training of your choice next year with a payment of $250. But you will save 75% on any one of the language of you, the speak strengths as a second language, one of the certifications, anything you pick, a coaching package, 75% off any one of those things for next year. And it's good until December 31st of December of 2024. So you'll have time to use it as well. So the, oops, okay, hold on. I'm recording, so I can't minimize. Give me 1 second. Da, 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 da. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. You should also get the link in the email follow-up. It's of course going to take its sweet time. Coming up right this second. Anyway, well, while that's coming up, you will get the link in the follow-up email shortly after this. Questions, comments, cheers of support, anything you would like to share today while we're on the call together?
Excited to see so many books plan to be published.
Yeah. I was like,
that's really
that's a lot of books. I'm like, I got a lot to say.
I think from me and my family, I think we're very excited about the family and education book. My dad's like, when's it gonna come out?
When is it coming? Rebecca, you're on the call. It's up to us to get that done. Hopefully soon.
No pressure, no pressure. And my dad is the one that's doing the translation for the career
I know,
success.
he's amazing.
I am just the PM.
That works. No, I'm fully dedicating the last couple of weeks in December to really focusing and hunkering down on writing and using some space. Since my son will be with his dad, I've got actual bandwidth to be able to focus and do my own thing. So thank you all so much for joining today. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you.